Which decade or year is the best in music history has been an endless debate since the invention of the gramophone more than a century ago, and you probably have an opinion on the topic. The 80s are often remembered for very overwhelming haircuts and experimental music videos, but many things happened in 1992 that changed the way we consume and experience music. So what if it was the best year in music history? First, let's travel to Japan, where two little companies named Sony and Philips worked on a revolutionary technology, the CD or compact disc. A CD is a small plastic disc with a shiny surface on which information, especially high-quality sound, is recorded. In the early 80s, most people used vinyls or the radio to listen to music, but the arrival of the CD was a revolution and changed how people experience music. The CD was very thin, with a diameter of only 12 centimeters. It didn't have background noise when played. It used a cutting-edge laser technology. Rather than a needle, it didn't need to be flipped on the other side like its cousin the vinyl, and it could hold more songs. Actually, it could hold up to 74 minutes, because according to the legend, engineers were asked to work on a technology that could hold Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, which is about 70 minutes long. It didn't take long for this small and compact format to start replacing vinyls, which happened by the end of the 80s, and in the early 2000s, CD sales accounted for 92% of the US music market sales. But if 1982 was the year for groundbreaking new technology, it was also the year for groundbreaking creativity. On November 1982, Michael Jackson released the album Thriller, which is to this day the most sold album ever. The impact of the album was so big that there is a before and after Thriller for the music industry and for all music lovers. After the album Off the Wall only got 2 nominations at the 1980 Grammy Awards, Michael Jackson was very frustrated, but also driven to release an album that would change music forever. This was very ambitious, but helped by the music producer Quincy Jones, he managed to make his artistic vision come true with the album Thriller. But Thriller is not just an album, it's an experience that can be lived by absolutely everyone. In 1982, it transcended everything that had been done before. It transcended genres to create something unique, and to this day, no other album has reached the impact of this one, and that's why it's still considered to be one of the greatest albums of all time. Each track was a hit, and several made it to the Billboard Hot 100 Top 10, including PYT, Billie Jean, Human Nature, and of course, Thriller, the song. Even if the music video for the song Thriller was actually released in 1983, we have to mention it in this video, because it set the tone for what music videos are today. After the release of the 13-minute short movie, artists couldn't just sing a song looking straight at the camera and call it a music video anymore. They had to perform, tell a story in a cinematic way, just like Michael did by drawing inspiration from horror movies and Broadway theater. With this video, he also opened new doors to African American artists at a time when radio and TV channels like MTV were still reluctant to play music by black artists. But the success and impact of Thriller was so big that the gatekeepers had to bend the knee. The music, the makeup, the choreography, everything was brought to such high levels to make sure this video was a cultural phenomenon, and it still remains the moment every Halloween since its release. The album Thriller won 8 Grammys in 1983, but do you know what makes this Grammy ceremony even more special? Well, Marvin Gaye's talent was finally recognized by the Recording Academy for a very special song he released in 1982.
One of the pioneers of the Motown sound is back these days, and he's hot, as Boyd Matson reports on.
In 1982, Marvin Gaye was living in Ostend, a small coastal town in Belgium. Away from his chaotic life in the US filled with drugs and personal drama, and free from Motown after being signed to the record label for more than 20 years, Marvin started making music again, and he recorded the album Midnight Love, which includes one of his most famous singers, Sexual Healing. With that song, he won his first and last 2 Grammys, for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance and for Best R&B Instrumental Performance. 1982 is the year The Clash released the album Combat Rock, which was a great album but also the beginning of the end for the English punk rock band known for its rebellious spirit and lyrics with social and political commentary. This album didn't sit well with some of the band's punk rock fans who thought The Clash were going toward a mainstream direction, more commercially accepted, that it lacked this raw energy they had at the beginning. Also, The Clash were used to release triple or double albums, which their record label wasn't really very fond of, by the way, but Combat Work is a 12-song album, which was disappointing for some of the fans. But despite a few negative comments, Combat Work is still a great album and includes two of the band's most popular songs, Work the Casbah and Should I Stay or Should I Go. It was also a commercial success, as it peaked at number 2 in the UK charts. It's also explored deep issues like the Vietnam War and American politics. But 1982 is also the time when things started getting sour for The Clash. They didn't agree on major decisions, including how they should be managed and by who, and Topper Headon's addiction to drugs was getting in the way of what the band was trying to achieve. Combat Work is the band's last album with the classic lineup: Topper Headon, Mick Jones, Paul Simonon, and Joe Strummer. While Combat Work was being recorded in New York City at Electric Lady Studio, where The Clash also recorded The Magnificent Seven, check out this video we made if you want to learn more, something else was brewing in the streets of New York. We can't talk about the early 80s without mentioning the early days of hip-hop. 1982 was the year Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five released the song The Message, a completely new sound with lyrics commenting on the difficult living conditions in New York's poorest neighborhoods like the Bronx. But if you want to learn more about this track, make sure to subscribe because we will probably dedicate an entire video to this masterpiece very soon.